Good noon, all of you. I hope all of you can see and hear me very, very clearly. I am Nikita and I'll be taking your MAH CET VARC sessions. We've had one session so far where we have talked about synonyms and antonyms. Why have we talked about them? Because, of course, they appear in your MAH CET exams. You can get up to 5 to 6 synonym antonym questions in MAH CET. Now, today's session is on fill in the blanks. Again, why am I covering this as a separate topic? Because you get a lot more fill in the blanks questions as part of your VARC section in MHCT. How many? Any guesses? Good afternoon, Krishna, both Rathi and Kakade. Hello, Dheeraj. Yes, guesses. How many fill in the blanks questions can come in MAHCT in your VARC section? Good afternoon, Rishabh. So there are 50 questions in total, yes? So how many out of these? That's my question. How many out of these in the VRC section come from your fill in the blanks? So let me tell you. See, if I include the closed passage also, right? So you get something called a closed passage as well. Just a second, let me tell you what a closed passage is. So a passage is given to you and from that passage, some words are deleted. Okay, then you have to plug in those words. So questions are framed out of them. You have to plug in those words from the five options. MHCT gives you 5 options that are given to you, right? So it is about contextual vocabulary at the end of the day. If I include this also, then you get about 15, approximately 15 questions from fill in the blanks, right? So that is the weightage that they carry, something almost equal to RC passages. I am not saying that this number is going to be constant every year. I am talking on the basis of your last year's paper and last to last year's paper, right? So based on the trend that I have been seeing. So you can expect some FIBs that are based on vocabulary, some fill in the blanks that are based on grammar, although they are relatively less in number, right? Then you can expect closed passage, right? One closed passage will have approximately 7 to 8 FIB questions, right? And we also saw a new question type in MHCT wherein some sentence correction questions were given to you. So that's grammar, right? But as part of that sentence correction, as part of that, you had a blank also which you had to fill in. So approximately 5 such questions were there. Then, if again I talk about the indirect questions that ask you fill in the blanks, sometimes your parajumbles in MHCT. So one of the sentences in the parajumbles will have a blank that you will have to fill. Sometimes your RC passages, okay, in one of the paragraphs there will be a blank that you will have to fill. So in these indirect ways also, fill in the blank questions are asked from you. So a very important question type all in all. Okay, all right. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. I hope. Yes, so I hope you've got an idea as to how many questions, right? So let's begin with our first question. I've already got one answer here. Let's see if that's correct. Yes, what do the others say? Question 1, I have picked it. I think I have picked this up from a parajumble question or an RC, no, from a parajumble question only. I have picked this question up, right? So this parajumble was on the lines of MHCT. This is one of the sentences from that parajumble wherein there was this one blank that you had to fill in, right? That's why, yes, let's see what the answer is going to be. Yes, okay. So I've got 3 A's. Others, yes. What do the others say? Everybody says A only. No other option. And just 5 responses. What about others? Kiran, what do you think? Shivam, what about you? Prachi? Okay. All right. So Prachi is saying A, Gaurav is saying C. All right. So I've got one C, right? One different response, right? So let's have a look. Let's have a look. When we dash life elsewhere in the universe, we are doing that most dangerous of things. So when we dash life, are we searching for life? What are we doing? Okay, elsewhere in the universe. So when we present in life does not make sense. Present in life does not make sense. Yes, this phrase itself does not make sense. Then this, if you look at this sentence, it is in the present tense. We are doing. We are doing. These contractions are used for the present tense. We are, not for we were. Yes. So argued for cannot be the answer. This is past tense. When we stringent among, I need a verb also here. I need a verb here. When we dash life elsewhere, I need a verb. Right? So stringent is an adjective, among is a preposition, no verb here. Eliminated. Same goes for E. When we supportive of, when we are supportive of, let's say, I need a verb. Yes? So only one option is left, which is A. So even though this is a vocabulary question, it's not that grammar can't help you here. Even in your vocabulary question, grammar can be a help. Here I needed a verb. So any option that did not provide me with a verb cannot be the answer. Yes? So this should be your strategy for attempting fill in the blank questions. Read the full sentence because the context is going to help you. The surrounding words are going to help you. For instance, it's on reading the surrounding words that I realized that I needed a verb. Okay, so this was my grammatical clue. I needed a verb. Then I rejected present in, because present in, the preposition in itself did not suit in the context. So I basically made use of a grammatical clue there. Yes, and I eliminated based on these. So always eliminate in these questions. Don't jump at the first option that you see. And yes, grouping sometimes may help. So here all the options were relatively different, but in some options, in some questions, you can see that let's say there are 5 out of 5, 2 or 3 options mean the same thing, the exact same thing, right? In that case, probably none of them is the answer, right? So grouping can help you in these questions. Okay, so this is your next question. Let's see what you say. Yes. Let's see. Hmm. Let's see what you say. I've got some responses here. Again, I've got a lot of A's. I've got some B's. A B also I've got. So mixed responses. Nobody thinks C and E. C and E have not been touched upon. Yes. C and E nobody has touched yet. Alright. Let's see. So, D, okay, I've got a lot of D's by now. Okay. Alright, alright. Let's see. Let's see. Each occupation has its own dash. Bankers, lawyers, and computer professionals, for example, all use among themselves a dash that outsiders find difficult to follow. Outsiders find difficult to follow. Now, those who marked A here, the mistake that you made was you just paid attention to the first fragment, the first clause. Yes. So you thought that each occupation has its own merits. Makes sense. Yes. So probably that's why you gave me A as the answer. But what about the second blank? That also has to be paid attention to. That's why I said read the full sentence. So outsiders are not understanding something that these professional people are saying. right? That means there is something that is confined to this occupation which the outsiders are not able to understand, right? Incidents, grammar, incidents, does it make sense? Methods, does not make sense. Fundamentals, does not make sense. So see, with the help of grammar, again I have eliminated three options. Yes, we're just left with this. Endearment, again does not make sense. Again, on the basis of grammar itself, I can eliminate this. And it would be a term of endearment or an endearment. What is endearment? For instance, when we call someone darling, sweetie, honey, these are terms of endearment that we use for them, right? So, does not make sense. D is our answer. Very good. Those who later on said D. So, initially I was getting A's. That's why I wanted more responses, right? B cannot be the answer because methods does not fit here. Similarly, because of fundamentals, E is also rejected. I hope this makes sense to everybody. Okay, all right, Gaurav. That's because it's a memory-based question of a past year paper. Okay, that's why. All right. Endearment, I hope the meaning is clear when you address someone in a very loving manner. So you use terms like darling, sweetie, right? Those are terms of endearment. Okay. Now, see here. There were two queries that were asked. Let me address those. So, the first query was that how to improve in the RC passages, right? That was one query that was asked. So, Akash, I am currently making, I mean, just after this session, I will be making a short on this, that what all can you do to actually improve at MHCT RC passages. So, I think uh, right now what you should do is first of all see what kinds of RC passages are asked. So let's say pick up a past year paper, see what type of an RC passage was asked, what was the difficulty level of the questions, what type of questions were asked, were they all direct, were they a mixed bag, right? How many direct, how many indirect? So analyze your RC passage first and that will give you a lot of answers, right? The remaining answers I'll provide in that short video. Now, another question that was asked was, how can I score about 25 marks in MBA CET in verbal section? Okay, so 25, scoring 25 is pretty easy. See, in total, you have what? 50 questions, right? 50 marks. So, just a second. Out of these 50 marks, if I aim to score 50%, let's see what our syllabus is. We have RC passages about 15. We have vocabulary questions, right? Around 20, right? We have grammar and we have a bit of logic wherein parajumbles, etc. Right? So, let's say 10 and 5. This is just a random division that I'm making. Last year there were 6 slots, so the division varied widely across slots, right? This is just an average approximate division that I'm making, right? So you can see that RC is a very major component. In vocabulary, see, vocabulary is an ocean. So even if we prepare for vocabulary, which we definitely should, I can't guarantee that, okay, you'll get 20 on 20, right? So let's say aim for 10 marks from here, aim for let's say 7 marks from here, right? Aim for about 7 from here, 6 to 7 from here at least, because grammar is rule based, knowledge based. If you prepare for it well, there is a high likelihood that you will get your questions correct, right? So that itself, gives you 25 marks. And I think that parajumbles should also be given a shot, right? Because sometimes they are odd sentence out parajumbles. You don't even have to make an entire sequence there. Sometimes these are the questions that are asked. Although the question format of MHCT says, which of the following sentences do not share a common theme? This is an odd sentence out parajumble only. So it's very easy to score a 25 out of 50 in MHCT, right? You just need to prepare a little for every section. Okay, I will not ask you to bank on one particular, let's say, subsection. That's how I should call it, one area to get those 25 marks from. That's never a good strategy because what if various RCs, the RC part comes out to be difficult. So don't put all your eggs in one basket, rather spread it, and trust me, it's very easy to score 25. Rather, you should aim for a 35. Okay, that's something that should be the aim at least. Okay, all right. Now let's see. Yes, I listened to IIT and Aman. What Aman is saying. Uh, what is jargon? Yes, what is jargon? the technical terms of a field. They are called the jargon of that field. For instance, in accountancy, the technical terms are debit, credit, balance sheet, P&L account, right? That's the jargon of the field. Okay. 40 in VRC marks. Very good, Ashish. Okay. All right. So, this was our second question. I hope now I have addressed your queries. Coming to question 3. The two artists dashed markedly in their temperaments. One was reserved and courteous, the other dash and boastful. Let's see what you say. So my effort is to bring those questions that are on the pattern of what is asked in MAH CET, right? So some of these are memory based questions, right? So you may have encountered them in one paper or the other, right? In case you've practiced previous year papers so far. Let's see what you say. Okay. Good topic, Gaurav. Yes, I can think of a short on this. C. All right. Everybody say C. What is jovial? If I call someone jovial, what do I mean? Positive word, negative word? Here, there is a clear contrast. Yes. So, I am saying one was reserved and courteous. I am appreciative. I am using a positive adjective for this person. The other dash and boastful. So, I need a negative word in the second blank. So, let's see what I can put. Can I put jovial? Can I put funny? Not likely. Jovial means somebody who's very happy-go-lucky. It's a positive word. Jovial. Somebody who's very happy-go-lucky. Funny. Somebody who can make you laugh. Right? I need negative words. Irritable, rude, ill-tempered. Right? So these two are eliminated. Also, they were not similar. Okay, they were different. So, differed is the word that fits the most in the first blank. Markedly means significantly. Markedly means significantly. So, they differed significantly in their temperaments. One was reserved and courteous, the other rude and boastful. Rude and boastful. Addressed does not fit in the first blank. I want to say that they differed significantly in their nature, in their temperaments, in their moods, right? And changed markedly? No, we are not talking about any change that earlier they were like this, now they are like this. Eliminated again. Hope this makes sense. C is our answer. Everybody said that. Good. Except one or two of you. Okay. Jovial is happy-go-lucky. Hope that is clear. Question 4. Yes. So you see that the questions, the vocabulary words are not very difficult. So that's a plus point for filling the blanks. That here they are not asking you very difficult vocabulary words that have to be plugged in. It's all about contextual understanding. If you understand what has been said in the surrounding words, you will be able to do that. Okay? Okay. E, A, alright. I've got 4 A's, 2 E's. What about others? 5 A's. Okay, so people who are saying A are winning. Okay, okay. All right. So, people who are saying A, the number outweighs those who are saying E. E. Yes. Let's see. Many people believe the spices help. See, the correct word here is preserve. that they don't, when something is not spoiled. Okay, when we prevent something from spoiling, we have preserved it. So preserve is the better word here as compared to protect. Good, people who are saying A, you are correct. So many people believe that spices help preserve food. However, nutritionists found that most spices were incapable, absolutely correct. Deprived of would mean that you didn't give them that privilege. You deprived them. You deprive people of certain rights when you don't provide them with those rights. Right? So deprived is incorrect here. Incapable is the word that I'm looking for. Yes, A is the answer. Now, do you notice something? Let's discuss this question. Many people believe past tense, right? Then were past tense. How is it that I'm using preserve here and not preserved? Why am I not saying preserved or helped preserve? Why am I not saying that? Hmm. Yes. Any idea? Because this is a general belief, right? So even if, let's say, for instance, if I talk about it's not a truth, but it's a belief that is accepted by many. Okay, so many people believe that. What is the belief? This belief. So this is a general belief. It's a general statement, right? So that is why I have put it in the present tense instead of the past tense, right? So लोगों का ये मानना था कि spices preserve करते हैं food को. लोगों का ये मानना था कि spices preserve करते हैं food को. This is the nature of this sentence, okay? Because this was a general truth of the time in a way, something that was considered generally true at that time. That is why we have put it in the present tense. Hope this makes sense to you, right? Although no option here gives the past tense, so we don't really need to focus on this, but then we should know, because I'm telling you that you can take help of grammar clues also, right? Uh, Another thing that I wanted you to understand, yes, help preserve, is this correct structure? Help preserve. Shouldn't I say help in preserving? Help in preserving. Yes. Is this correct or is this correct? Yes, Aman, there is going to be some little lag that is there in YT, in YouTube, okay? So it's not a real time exchange. It was a general truth of the time, a general belief that was widely held at the time, that is why. Hope this one is clear. Now, help preserve versus help in preserving, which is correct? Actually, both are correct. Okay, the first structure is also correct. Help preserve is a correct structure. Now, why is it a correct structure? See, sometimes we say this, no? He made me cut my hair. He made me cut my hair. Right? So, made me cut my hair. So, here you must, now, what is the verb here if I ask you? What is the verb, made or cut? What is the verb here, made or cut? This is a deep concept that we are doing. I want your attention. He made me cut my hair. He helped me finish my homework. What is the verb? Helped or finish? The verb here is made and helped. Okay, it is made and helped. Now, these are called causative verbs. They cause something else to happen. So, he made me what? What did he cause? Cutting of hair. What did he help in? Finishing the work. So, he basically brought it about. He helped me in finishing my work. So, these are called causative verbs and they follow this structure that you use the verb. So, made, helped. If let's say this were in the present tense, I make him cut his hair every day. I make him cut his hair every day. So this can be in the present tense also. Make, cut. Now with this, you always use the base form. You always use the base form. Cut, base form of the verb. Okay, nothing. Okay, then again here finish, not finished. You use the base form. So help, preserve is a correct structure. Hope you have understood this. Very good. All of you made, helped. Good. These are called causative verbs. Right? It's a deep concept. Not every grammar book gives this. A is the answer. So you are learning grammar also along with some vocabulary here. That's our endeavor because vocabulary and grammar carry good weightage when it comes to MAH CET. Right? Of course, if you find value in the session, then you know what you have to do. You have to go there and press the like button. In case whatever, see, till June we'll be having MAH CET sessions, right? Interspersed with some CAT sessions also. So whatever you want to be covered, right? But of course, it has to be based on the MH CET pattern. Don't give me something that is not even there. You can always comment in the comment section. Okay, I read the comment section, so I'll prepare my sessions accordingly. Okay. Anybody who is preparing for MHCT, you can share this session with them. Anybody who is preparing for other exams also in general wants to improve their vocabulary, RC, grammar, you can share this session with them, right? And of course, you know that you have to subscribe to the channel in case you want to receive automatic updates. In case you don't want to worry about when my next session is going to be. Okay. All right. Uh, should I attempt RC passages? Definitely so. No, I never recommend leaving RC passages altogether. Okay, in any exam, I don't recommend that because what is the RC passages that you're leaving? They were the easy questions, and the vocabulary and grammar this time came out to be tough. So even if an RC passage is difficult, there are going to be some easy questions there, some direct questions there. So never leave an RC passage completely. That's my advice to you. Okay. Question 5. So 24, 25, 26, those are the tentative dates for MHCT. Yes, Krishna. Most likely it is going to happen in these dates. Question 5. Despite a growing dash that a lot needs to be done to help those without clean water, a dash says that more than 34 million people die every year of waterborne diseases. So despite, contradiction. Okay, let's see what you say. B, C, all right. Okay. Others. What is turbulence? Turbulence. I think you must have heard this term, very high frequency word. Yes. When you're flying, sometimes you experience some turbulence in the air because of which the plane starts shaking a little at times. So, turbulence is nothing but disturbance. Disturbance. Turb is a root that means to shake. Okay, disturb, perturb, right? Turbid. All of these come from this root only. Disturb, perturb, turbid. Turbid water is unclear water. Turbid water is unclear water. Again, something that has been shaken, something that's muddy. Perturbed, somebody who is extremely disturbed. Disturbed, you understand. So, such people would be shaken a bit, right? That's the idea. So, turbulence. Despite a growing turbulence, that a lot needs to be done to help those without clean water. Does not make sense. Does not make sense at all. E is eliminated. Right. B is what most of you are saying. Absolutely correct. B is the answer. Despite a growing recognition that a lot needs to be done to help those without clean water, a report says. Yes, we are citing a report. Absolutely correct. Nothing else says. A legend says. Legend is a story that may be a myth also, right? Folklore, that is legend. So that would not cite data. Then despite a growing fantasy, this is not a fantasy, this is awareness, right? Eliminated. A reason says no, we are citing data, so something contains that data, right? B is the answer. So easy to eliminate questions, not very difficult vocabulary words. These questions are your scoring questions. Fill in the blanks. Yes. Question 6. Let's see what you say. Correct. Ashish and Kiran, you gave the correct meaning of turbulence. Okay, so Sonu has a question. How do I improve my speaking skills, right? So I think there are two aspects to it. Let's talk about the English part of it, then we'll talk about the speaking part of it. See, when you want to immerse yourself in any language, what are the ways in which you can do it? The thing is, everybody wants to improve when it comes to speaking in English, but then they don't want to make the necessary effort. That's a common problem. These are the four elements that are involved when it comes to improving at any language. Even if you want to improve at Hindi, let's say, or at some regional language, let's say Malayalam, Odia, any language for that matter, you have to immerse yourself in that language by doing these four things. Okay, so first element is that you read so that you become aware of the words that are used in that language. Then when you write, what you will use those words, you will see how they are used. When I sit to write, I have to see, okay, I know the meaning of this word, but does it fit here? Will it fit in this context? I have to see that. I consult the dictionary a lot of times, right? Listening, that tells you how to pronounce various words. How is this person speaking? How is this person enunciating, pronouncing? Is this a positive word? Is this a negative word? You get all of that from listening. And finally, you improve at speaking in a language by speaking in that language. Okay, just like you improve at reading. Students ask me how to improve at ASCII passages. The first step is reading only, right? So be confident. Initially, you might be speaking incorrect English, but trust me, no one cares. Okay, at this stage, it's actually easy to get away with speaking incorrect English. Perhaps, let's say, when you start working, you reach senior positions, it might become relatively difficult. But right now, it's very easy. So, it's okay. Even if you speak incorrect English, you just have to get used to doing that activity, right? Just like when we exercise, we might have the incorrect form in the initial days, but gradually we improve at our form, right? Gradually we start doing it more and more. Then we gain confidence, right? And we become at ease with that particular exercise. So it's the same with speaking. So start speaking in English with your friends, with your group. If you have a group of, uh, let's say there are people, there are students who are preparing for MH CET. You have a group with those students. So in that group, start speaking in English, right? Uh, Teach new words, teach yourself new words every day. So that's how you, it's a gradual process. That's how you improve at speaking in English, right? Hope this is clear. AED, that's what you are telling me. All right. Very few responses I've got this time. Why? Lost interest. If there is nothing to absorb the energy of sound waves, they travel on dash, but their intensity dash as they travel further from their source. Okay. So now, if there is nothing to absorb them, what will happen? See, always, forever, steadily, everlasting, indefinitely. All of them convey the idea that they will keep on traveling. Yes. So they travel on everlasting. No, that does not fit here because this is an adjective. For instance, everlasting happiness, everlasting hard work. So I need a noun after it. This does not fit here. So A cannot be our answer. Hope this is clear. D. Steadily makes sense. Okay, steadily does make sense. But their intensity deflates. A balloon deflates, right? Intensity decreases, not deflate. So The second word does not fit here. Is the answer. Yes, if they travel on indefinitely, but their intensity diminishes, it decreases. Improves does not make sense. Inclines would be that, okay, it leans in a particular direction. Intensity will either increase or decrease. Yes. So, sorry, is our answer here. Hope this is clear to you. Okay. Seventh. Now, here again, what I have done is I have picked this up from an RC passage. So, this is an excerpt from an RC passage. Okay. Let's see what you say. A fill in the blank based on an RC passage. I have just picked up the relevant excerpt. Let's see what you say. I think easy question. The context makes it very easy. Yes. Let's see who answers the fastest. Okay, Ashish, Gaurav, Sairish, I've received your responses at the same time. B is what you said. Okay, all right. Claustrophobic experience. Superfluous experience. The options here are just so far apart from what the answer should be that it becomes very easy to spot the answer. Absolutely correct. Management is the answer. Okay, because you are the team leader here. Yes, you are a shift lead. So, management experience. Now, the important thing is to learn the meanings of these other words. Antecedent. What does this word mean? Antecedent. And this ENT actually acts as a suffix. Ante is the prefix, seed is the root here, and ENT is the suffix. Right? So, ante. This is not anti. Anti is against. This is ante with an E. It means before. Seed means to occur. Okay, and this makes it a noun actually, antecedent. Something occurring before the other thing. So basically, it's something that precedes the other thing. Okay, so for instance, if let's say before before the real match, there are always some rehearsals. If that is the case, then the rehearsals are antecedent to the match. The practice matches are antecedent to the actual match, right? They antecede the actual match. Okay, so learned a new word, antecedent. Now, claustrophobic, very good. Claustro means a closed space. Good, good Sonu. So, claustrophobic. Let's see this. Clud, clause. Okay. They all mean something that is enclosed, something that is enclosed, something that is captured. Clud, clause. Right. For instance, cluster, a cluster of things, basically a collection, a group of things, right? Clud, include, exclude. When you include something, you in a way enclose them in a group. Clause, right? Claustrophobic has that clause. Even clois, right? Any idea what is a cloister? Cluster, everybody knows. What is cloister? Yes. Anybody? who is into religion a little. Cloister. It's a nunnery, a monastery where nuns live, right? So it's related to the church. It's related to Christianity. Cloister. That's the spelling. Cloister. A nunnery. It's called a nunnery. You could call it a Christian monastery, right? That is a cloister. Again, it's enclosed. Only certain types of people live there. It's not open to everybody. So, cluster, include, exclude, claustrophobia, cloister, they all share these roots that I've just told you, and all of them mean enclosed. So, phobia is fear. Claustrophobic is somebody who is afraid of enclosed spaces, closed spaces, right? Such people are claustrophobic. Okay. All right, all right. Now, monastery, yes, Krishna, you are correct there. Ashish Kiran, yes, correct meaning of antecedent. Sonu says, is it agrophobia or is it agoraphobia? Yes, is it agoraphobia or is it agrophobia? Agro is basically, it stands for agriculture. Agoraphobia is the word, okay? Agoraphobia. Good. So, agora actually translates to market. Agora means market. So, fear of, if let's say I leave you in an open market and you get afraid, that means you have a fear of open spaces. So, it's the exact opposite of claustrophobia, when you are afraid of open spaces, right? What is a fear of heights called? A fear of height? Yes, a fear of height. If let's say I am afraid if I stand on a cliff. It's similar to agoraphobia, but then it's not quite agora. The term is acrophobia. Acro. So because it is related, I thought to discuss acrophobia. Okay. Acrobat, somebody who can jump various heights, right? So acrophobia, fear of heights, agoraphobia, fear of open spaces, claustrophobia, fear of closed spaces. Right? We learned these terms today. Now, superfluous. Superfluous. I have discussed this in a CMAT session also. Super plus fluo. Okay, let's call it flu only, but it's fluo actually the root, and ous is the suffix. Super is the prefix. Fluo means to flow. When you're fluent in English, the words just flow out of your mouth. When you're mellifluous, it's like words again, the song flows out of your mouth. Melly means honey, okay, as if the words are flowing like honey from your mouth when you sing. So mellifluous is melodious, harmonious. So superfluous, जितना नहीं फ्लो होना चाहिए उससे ज्यादा फ्लो हो रहा है, राइट? इट मीन्स excessive to the point that it is redundant. The word has a negative connotation. So superfluous is, yes, very good. Extra, unnecessary, redundant. Yes, acros, correct Sonu. Okay, good Gaurav. Vertigo, vertigo क्या होता है? That dizzying feeling that you get when you're standing on a great height. Right? So that is vertigo, chakkar aana, right? Vert means to turn. So when your head starts spinning, that feeling is vertigo. Okay, so you see how etymology helps, right? I know the meanings of these words through their etymology, right? So I would recommend this to you because this is one of our sessions where we are beginning our vocabulary discussions. I would recommend WordPal Made Easy to all of you. Those who have attended my previous sessions, they know I swear by this book, right? You will add, even if your vocabulary is good, then also you will add about 1200 to 1300 words by doing this book. Stay consistent with it. Don't say I get bored, I get bored. See, there are a lot of other boring things, more boring things that you have done to pass your exams. This is one of the interesting things that I'm asking you to do. Okay. Superfluous, excessive, mangier. This is not a high frequency word, but let's just see it. Actually, it's an adjective. Mangy, mangier, mangiest. ये उसका comparative form है. The adjective is mangy. Yes, mangy means somebody who's very dirty, shabby, in poor condition. That is mange. Actually, mange is a disease that affects dogs. Okay, wherein all their fur, they shed all their fur and they get these patches on their skin. Okay, so from that mange comes this mangy, dirty, shabby, in poor condition. Mangier when you are comparing two dirty, shabby people. Mangiest when you compare more than two. So it does not fit at all here, but we learned a new word. Our answer here is definitely management. Okay, completed. Very good, Sonu. And that shows also. See, you knew acrophobia, you knew agoraphobia, you knew claustrophobia, right? So it's there's a list of manias and phobias that is given at the back of word bar. Okay, so B is our answer here. Yes, let's see. Question 8. Relations between Britain and Persia were cordial. The countries dash signed a treaty of alliance in 1812. This is from a parajumble again. I have picked up a statement, a sentence from a parajumble, and now you have to fill in the blank. Yes. What do you say? Let's see what you say. Waiting for your response. Just one blank. Okay, A, all right. Krishna, Kiran, Ashish, Gaurav, say A. What about others? Yes. Hmm. Okay, everybody's saying it. No other choice. No other choice. All right. Let's see if A is the answer. This question is a tricky question. Okay. Not a very simple question. The year. When I mention the year with something, the time point with something, I have to use the simple past. I can't use the past perfect. For instance, if I say I completed my post grad in 2015. Okay, if I tell you that. So if I say in 2015, I cannot say I had completed. That would be incorrect. When you give a time point, you have to give the past simple, not the past perfect. Then when can I use the past perfect? I had completed my post grad when I started working. When I started working. In this scenario, you use the past perfect. When you want to talk about two actions that happened in the past, both of these things happened in the past, right? Both of these happened in the past. So you are talking about two actions that happened in the past, but one happened earlier and the other happened later. So for the action that happened earlier in the past, you use the past perfect tense. Why? Because this action got completed either before or by the time the second action happened. That's why it's a perfected, it's a completed action. ठीक है, completed action है. So अब यहाँ पर तो use कर ही नहीं सकते हम time point दिया हुआ है. So ये grammatically incorrect. ठीक है? Another reason why you cannot use. So some of you might be thinking फिर तो blank में none of these आना चाहिए. Yes, some of you might have started thinking this. Then none of these should fit because past simple चाहिए, past simple is given. So none of these. But the answer is D, Delhi. Let me tell you why. See this. This is a clause. Yes. In fact, you could have written this as a separate sentence. Relations between Britain and Persia were cordial. ये अपने आप में independent है, बिल्कुल समझ आ रहा है. It makes complete sense. These are called independent clauses, right? Now, this again, if you even if you do not write here anything, let's say blank, and say the country signed a Treaty of Alliance in 1812. This will also become an independent clause. It's a complete sentence, complete idea, makes perfect sense. The country signed a treaty, verb bhi hai, subject bhi hai, independent clause. Now, grammar says you can't join two independent clauses. You can't join two independent clauses using just a comma. So I cannot say I saw a movie, I watched a movie yesterday, comma, it was interesting. I can't do that. Grammar does not allow me that. वो कहते हैं दोनों complete sentences है. How can you join them using a mere comma? Okay, you need a semicolon actually to join these. So the point that I'm trying to make here is that the answer will not be had and the answer will not be none of these. The answer is having. We need a phrase. Phrases can be attached. You can attach phrases to clauses. You can attach phrases to clauses using a comma. Right? So the countries having signed a treaty. So what I'm trying to say is because they signed a Treaty of Alliance in 1812, they signed a Treaty of Alliance in the past. Currently, the relations between Britain and Persia were cordial. That's what I'm trying to say. So basically, this is this kind of a sentence. Having signed a treaty, you could also write it like this. Relations between them were cordial. Relations between them were cordial. Okay. Having, let's take a simpler example. Having completed the course, she was ready for any subject related challenge. Because उसने course complete करा हुआ था, so she was ready for any subject related challenge. So this is that phrase kind of a structure. Hope this makes sense to you. Okay. Some buffering happening at Krishna's end. I hope that's not the case with others and you have listened to everything that I've said in this question and you've got it also. That D is the answer. Yes, give me thumbs ups, give me a yes if you've got the answer. We are left with one more question type. So I'm trying to cover various question types with you. Just one more remains. Yes. Question 9. Perfect. Question 9. Read the instructions first. And then attempt. Okay, Ashish has answered. He says C. Others. Ashish has answered again. He again says C. Gaurav C. All right. Krishna C. Shivam C. Okay. So all of you are saying C. So let me see if C is the answer. Absolutely correct. C is the answer. It's an instrument of indebtedness. Something that puts you in debt. Something जो आपके ऊपर उधार चढ़ा देता है. Something that puts you in debt. Right? So it can't be a brand. In finance, a brand is not a financial instrument. Right? Barter, no, in barter you exchange. So it's a fair exchange. You will not be in debt of anybody. Now we are talking about finance and we are talking about an instrument. Instrument means a financial tool. For instance, shares. Shares are financial instruments, right? Shares are also called stocks. So stocks are financial instruments. Similarly, bonds are financial instruments, right? Bonds, through bonds, you lend money to a company, in fact, to a country also. Those are called sovereign bonds, right? So, in all the blanks, bond fits. The bond is a debt security. Thus, a bond is a form of a loan or I owe you something. something that says that I owe you something. Hope this is clear to everybody. Not a very difficult question, this one. Yes, the idea was just that, all the blanks will take one word only. This was a new question type. Same question type again. Last question for the day. Let me see what you say. Yes. Let's see who answers the fastest this time. Easy question. See, these are based on CET only. Okay, I haven't included any questions from my end here, right? Whatever level you are seeing, this is CET's level itself, right? So it's not that every question is going to be easy. It's not that every question is going to be difficult, right? And in fill in the blanks, usually what I've seen is that they don't ask you very difficult vocabulary words in a majority of the questions, right? In fill in the blanks. Okay, Ashish says D. Others. Last year, I think what you are saying, Sonu, is based on your last year's experience. I understand that in some of the slots last year, vocabulary was difficult. So I remember in one of the slots, spellings questions had been asked, but the spellings of very weird words, words that are not at all high frequency words, right? That was asked. For instance, the spelling of otorhinolaryngologist, that was asked. Otorhinolaryngologist. So that spelling was asked. Now, uh, this is nothing but an ENT doctor, ear, nose, throat. This is nose, this is throat, auto is ear. So, I understand that there were some such questions in some slots, right? In a couple of slots, vocabulary was difficult. Otherwise, in other slots, the vocabulary was manageable, right? And of course, if there are 20 vocabulary questions, I'm not saying that you will be able to attempt all 20. Some of you will be, for whom vocabulary is a strength. But I can't guarantee that for anybody, right? Okay, so DAC, all right. DAC. Factors, emission factors. No, emission factors are not the legal requirements. It should either be A or it should be D. Either A or D. Norms or standards. Okay. So, actually both fit here. A and D both make sense if you ask me. Because we do talk about emission norms also. However, if I have to choose between the two of them, if I have to choose, I have to make that choice, right? Norm means something that is accepted in a society. Standard, on the other hand, has a legal sanction, something that has a legal sanction. For instance, accounting standards versus accounting principles. Accounting standards, they are laid by the law. Accounting principles, that is what is generally accepted, right? So the better word here out of the two is standards, and that's why I will choose standards. Otherwise, in real life, we use both. Norms we use करते हैं और standards we use करते हैं. ठीक है? I hope this makes sense. D is the answer here. Okay? Any confusion, any query, you can ask me. I think we did fairly easy questions today. We'll see more questions in the coming sessions. Do have a look at the synonym antonym session that I had. There I did ask a fair mix of questions. You will find some difficult questions also there, right? So yes, do like the session. And in case your friends are taking CMAT, then do tell them that we have an analysis at 9 p.m. today and they should attend it, right? And you know about our batches, our ongoing batches. To stay connected, you can join our Telegram group for any further queries that you want to raise. Okay, I'll see you tomorrow at 12. No, I'll not see you tomorrow. Wait, today is Saturday, right? I'll see you on Tuesday now at 12 p.m. with another session. Okay, bye. Welcome. Exam is in June. June end. Okay. All right. Bye.